It seems like it was just a chapter ago where the Germ Pirates cover story started, and now we are several chapters in and the cover story is still going on, and Capone still hasn't found Chiffon and Lola, and getting kind of old. It seems like it's the end of the Germ Pirates. Let's see where it goes from here, and let's actually get to the chapter. One Piece chapter 965, A Love Story. This chapter revolved around Oden, obviously, because we're still in the midst of his flashback and he's still documenting his voyage. I think the beautiful thing about this flashback is that it's the opening of Oden's eyes. Oden is starting to see just how small Wano is in comparison to the rest of the world. Said that he found out that the world is a sphere, and he even said himself how small Wano is in comparison to everything else. So it's opening his mind. He's learning a lot more, and I think this is great, and it's symbolic, right? Showing that if you remain where you are and content in where you are, you will never see the big picture. If Oden remained in Wano with their old traditions and lifestyles, he never would have met Toki, he wouldn't have his kids. So it's great to see his development from that perspective, bringing about more awareness, because not only is he learning about the size of the world, he's learning about organizations outside in the world. Oden's first instinct is to fight the Marines, but Whitebeard tells him it's a large organization. If we did stay to fight, more people will keep showing up. And in the midst of that, Whitebeard made sure to tell him that, yes, this organization oversees the world, and I know you don't think that was possible, but if you look at your country, Wano, in a way, your country is still free. Again, this chapter had a lot of symbolism, because him saying that Wano is free, technically they are, but Wano is so shackled by traditions and just old ideologies, I won't say they're free, they're more so trapped there. So while technically they are free because they're not governed by the world government, they can't leave, no one can enter, they're stuck to believe everything that's been passed down in Wano. That's a bit stifling. We see the blossoming of Oden's and Toki's relationship, and this obviously leads to Oden and Toki having children. The first child, Kozuki Momonosuke, meaning unrivaled. It's interesting because when we think of Momonosuke, the last thing we think about is unrivaled, but that's what it means for Oden. I'll talk about Oden and Toki's relationship later in this video because I think it's a lot more to get into, but Toki did say that her parents are from Wano, so that's a very big clue in regards to who Toki is. And quickly going back to the whole theme of being free and being shackled, Izo tells Oden that he now has a bounty. He's an outlaw in the outside world, and that it would probably be better for Toki and Momonosuke to go back to Wano. But Oden says he hasn't found the answers he's looking for. I think this is a hint in regards to why he joins Roger's crew, but we haven't necessarily gotten there yet. As free as Wano is, they don't get any news, and news doesn't get out of Wano, and Inarashi compares it to Zou, where it's like this country has no means of contact with the outside world, so information doesn't really get out, and it's the same for information getting in. And I think that's intriguing because it could be a crazy plot going on in Wano and Oden would have no idea. Oda keeps giving us small nuggets here and there. Now he talks about the division leaders. And if you remember back then within the Ace storyline, one of the things discussed amongst the Whitebeard pirates was the fact that the 2nd Division commander position was open for a long time. Here we see Whitebeard is thinking of division leaders and splitting the crew into 5 divisions. We don't see the other division leaders. We know Marco was very young, but I'm not sure if Whitebeard gave him the 1st Division commander position. Oden is named 2nd Division commander, but his reaction is hilarious. He's like, no, I would rather not have that kind of response. And listen, Oden still has the Oden face. Like his reaction to certain things that he dislikes and doesn't want to do, gold, comedy gold. All right. So that was an amazing moment. Something key here, and I said this in my live reaction because this kind of debunks the fact that Blackbeard joined Whitebeard's crew at 16. I'm not sure where that was mentioned. I have to go back and check. They show a panel of Blackbeard joining Whitebeard. It doesn't say the time. We don't really see Oden, and Oden, while documenting, said that over time, many others would join the crew like we did. And it says another orphan. So here's my question, because it's not really clear to me. This panel that's being showed of Blackbeard, a young Blackbeard, Teach, is this real time showing that Teach joined while Oden was on the ship? Or is this saying that Teach joined eventually, which we know, just not at the time Oden was on the ship? Because we never saw Teach in another panel. Of course, next chapter, we'll get into that. Maybe we get some more clarification on it, but what do you guys think? Did he join while Oden was there? Or is this just saying eventually Teach would join, or eventually orphans would join Whitebeard's crew? Because mentioning the 2nd Division commander, it makes sense to mention Blackbeard as well, because we know the entire debacle over Thatch and Ace and everything going around there. Blackbeard is heavily involved. So showing the way in which he joined the Whitebeard crew, I think is apt, but is it in real time? So while Oden is doing all this, Wano is literally crumbling. And what I mean crumbling politically, because there's a lot going on here. So first, Shogun Sukiyaki, Oden's dad, he's in critical condition. Remember when the last time we saw him, they said that was the last time Oden would talk to his dad. So he obviously was sick. He's obviously going to die at some point. The daimyo are gathered in the capital, and Sukiyaki is telling them that he wants to make Oden shogun. They're saying that Oden is away and he has to appoint a regent, someone to oversee Wano until Oden returns. They said they would choose someone who Oden regards as a brother, and that man was Kurozumi Orochi. Yasui picked up on this because Yasui and Orochi, they have a history. It's crazy though, because Orochi's saying all the right things after he's appointed the regent if Oden doesn't make it home, or because Oden is not there. He says he's fully prepared. His goal is to redeem the Kurozumi clan. Yasui's question was, why didn't you ever mention that you were Kurozumi? And he's like, oh, forgive me. But within the chapter, we now know why he didn't mention that he was a Kurozumi. Towards the end of that panel, we saw like the darkness in Orochi, and there's some contempt and hate there. There's a weird lady in this chapter. People thought it was Kasa, the lady that Rouge met in Raijin Island. It's not her because obviously, I'll tell you guys why. She tells Orochi that he's going to be shogun, and she goes into the story of what happened to Orochi's grandfather. First, she says that he was killed by the Kozuki clan. And this goes back to perspective. Orochi is saying that he heard his grandfather committed seppuku. She says, no, he was killed by the Kozuki clan. Orochi says, well, I heard he committed treason. She says, no, since when was struggling to obtain power a crime? She then echoes the sentiment of One Piece, which Doflamingo had an amazing speech to at Marineford. She says the ones with power ultimately decide what is right and what is wrong. What was once considered a crime can be redefined as noble. Very profound words, because that's essentially what the world government did. So as free as Wano is, and even though they're not connected to the world government, this saying rings true. These things are still happening in these smaller countries, in these individual territories. Long story short, the previous Kozuki shogun did not have any kids to succeed him, so then his 5 daimyo wondered who would succeed the shogunate. These were the daimyo clans: Shimotsuki, Kurozumi, Uzuki, Amatsuki, and Fugetsu. We know Shimotsuki, that's a clan that derives from Ryuma in some way, and then, with Koshiro. Kurozumi, that's Orochi's clan. Uzuki, not sure. Amatsuki, that's Toki's clan. Fugetsu, not sure. So because the Kozuki clan did not have a direct heir, every single one of the daimyo felt like they were the best candidate. Orochi's grandfather, he made preparations to assassinate the other daimyos with poison. He was really close, he almost succeeded, but then Kozuki Sukiyaki was born. And obviously that's Oden's dad. They said due to Sukiyaki, the Kurozumi's clan's plot to overtake the country was exposed. The grandfather did commit seppuku, but it was a forced seppuku like they were trying to do to Zoro when he first entered Wano and he had Shusui. And because of this, the entire clan was disbanded. They took all the territory, they lost the castle, and all their power and influence was gone. So this woman is telling Orochi that because of Sukiyaki, that's the only reason why Orochi is not the shogun right now. Something key here that even I was interested in is who this woman was, because he asked, he's like, are you perhaps the Kurozumi's clan? She's like, my identity does not matter. Just know that I endured many hardships while I was out of the country. I don't know what that means. It's important, but I don't know what it means. Maybe she was a slave. But her being back in Wano is key, meaning she left Wano when she shouldn't have because that's outlawed, and somehow came back to Wano. The devil fruit power she has is Mr. 2's devil fruit, the Mane Mane no Mi, where she can change faces. With Mr. 2, he had to make contact with the person first to do so. So I'm assuming she had to do the same thing. She turned into someone we didn't recognize. Now it doesn't make sense. I'm sure eventually it will, but now I don't know who that is. Then she turned into Orochi. She then tells him that if he follows her instructions, she will grant him the power he needs to become shogun. She then places a regular fruit in front of him. 1, that's not a devil fruit because it doesn't have these swirls, the noticeable swirls that every devil fruit has. The thought is, this is the fruit that the devil fruit power is going to transfer into. So I think someone in Wano right now, one of the daimyo, probably has that devil fruit. So with her instructions, they're going to use this fruit and kill this person and transfer that power into that fruit. Remember back then when we saw Orochi was getting money from Oden and Oden kept lending him money that they were so broke they had to go to Yasui to get money? She told Orochi to gather as much gold and weapons as he can. She says with more gold and more weapons and making use of Wano's craftsmanship, he might be able to get some bigwigs, some big players to back his cause, i.e. Kaido. That's essentially what I'm getting from it. The thing is, that wasn't the end of Orochi's plot. This plot really runs deep. This old lady, she transforms into Oden. I'm assuming she made contact with Oden's face at some point. She transforms into Oden and she goes to the castle and says, hey, Orochi's like a younger brother to me. I want you to give him a job here. Bids adieu, transforms. So she's the one who did that. She got Orochi in the door at the castle. I believe by the time we see Sukiyaki and Orochi laughing, the real Sukiyaki was dead at that point, but the old lady with her devil fruit power, she was pretending to be Sukiyaki. And we can tell it's her laughing with Orochi because of the laughing style, the kyo 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 kyo. So after this, the person that was left everything is Orochi. The news spread throughout Wano that Sukiyaki had died. This is where we left off with this entire thing, but we know at some point Oden goes back to Wano. We know when he goes back to Wano, he doesn't die immediately because after Roger dies, he lives 4 more years after that. So after Oden gets back to Wano, Orochi had to conspire to get him out of there because he feels like he's the trueborn, or he has the right to be shogun based on the history. All of this stuff could be skewed. She could be lying, but Orochi believes it. He's a Kurozumi and he feels like he has the right title and he's the person that should be on the throne. All of the fish are swimming away from the Moby Dick. My first instinct, my first thought was that, okay, is it because 2 true kings are going to be on this island? Yeah, could this be the signal of some natural disaster? Roger and Whitebeard fighting on an island, and if you include Rayleigh and Oden, that's a disaster. I would get out of there too. And remember, Roger was already fighting on that island, so that could be the reason why they're getting away from there too, because Roger we know is a monster in his own right. And even Rakyu says, I wonder if there's some sort of monster over there. Which there was. They tell Marco to go look and he's like, nah, that doesn't sound like fun to me. Every time I see Marco and then I see Shanks on Roger's crew, I'm like, bro, you knew that was Marco. There's no way you didn't meet Marco unless when they went to the shore, they left Marco on the ship. Regardless, we see Hiyori and Momonosuke. They're crying now, right? Because now Hiyori is born. The beasts we see on this island are just like the beasts we see on Ruskaina, and that's the island where Luffy trained, where Rayleigh trained Luffy. They should be in a new world. Ruskaina is in the calm belt. I'm not sure if these are the same animals, but they're very similar to the animals on Ruskaina. It's very similar. So we'll see how that plays out. The final panel, the epic panel in this chapter. Roger tells some hapless marine that next time, send someone like Sengoku or Garp, that no one else is worth his time. Got me to thinking about Kong, like, did you ever interact with Roger at all? I guess not, he wasn't mentioned. But then Buggy tells everyone, hey, Whitebeard just docked on the other side of the island. Really tell Roger that they just fought, implying that they don't want to fight Whitebeard right now, or they probably shouldn't because they just got out of a fight. Roger says, well, it's been a while since we crossed paths, and since I don't have much time, and this might be our final encounter, we might as well go all out, or we might as well just go at it, meaning that we should fight anyway. The chapter ends there. We have this amazing spread. Roger looks amazing. Rayleigh looks amazing. Shanks is there. Scopper, Crocus, Jumbo. I don't know who he is, but I'm calling him Jumbo. And to the left of the Marine, you see someone that looks a lot like Douglas Bullet, based on he has headphones, he has that scowl. It looks like he has some longer hair. Not sure if Otis is just teasing us because we know Douglas Bullet was in One Piece Stampede and he was supposedly a part of the Roger Pirates. Not sure if he's canon yet. Not sure, but he looks suspicious. It looks like him. This chapter was really good. It gave us a lot of things to think about. But before I end this and talk more about the Whitebeard and Roger stuff, and I might make a separate video about that, talking about their encounter. I've talked about it before as far as like what could possibly happen, but now with more context, I have some new thoughts about that entire situation. But back to Lady Toki. Her last name, Amatsuki. All the clans that serve the Kozuki, in some way they're connected to moons. Toki being from the Void Century, or being from close to the Void Century, if not the Void Century. Never being to Wano is important. I think in some way Toki was meant to send a message. I think in some way we're going to see a history of just prophecy, where sending Toki forward to meet Oden was part of the plan, and then Oden dying would lead to Luffy going to Wano, which would lead to the opening of Wano's borders, which would lead to us finding out the history of Wano. Everything seems hella coincidental and perfect at the same time, but with Toki never being to Wano, but her clan being from Wano, it tells me that she's probably a child that was bestowed this power, and she was a child of prophecy to go forward into the future to change things that was to come. We have to find out more about Toki. We have to find out more about where she came from, because that's going to be very important to the story of Wano. Oda already said that he's going to give us some information as far as like how Wano is connected to the One Piece. The deeper we get into the Wano lore and the Void Century, the poneglyphs, all this stuff, it makes it more interesting. And now knowing all this, where Wano could be the most important country in the One Piece world in connections to the Void Century, in addition to Skypiea, obviously, it's starting to make sense why Kaido occupied Wano. If Kaido had some inklings as to what's going on or how important Wano is, it would make sense why he'd want to occupy there. Something else that was bugging me is just the fact that Doflamingo knew who Momonosuke was, knew who Kinemon was, but Orochi and his side of the crew, his gang, had no idea. So Kaido knows things that Orochi doesn't know, but why is he withholding it from Orochi? Does he want Orochi to remain ignorant? Because Orochi at this point is just a figurehead. He has power, but the true power in Wano is Kaido. Very good chapter. I really enjoyed it, guys, but leave your thoughts. How did you feel about the chapter? What do you feel about Oden now? What do you think is going to happen next chapter when Roger and Whitebeard finally clash on screen? Let me know your thoughts. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. Follow me on Twitter at BragoDAce for updates. Also follow me on Instagram at BragoD.ace. I also update you guys there. Thank you guys again so much for your support. I appreciate it. Like again, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Something I wanted to mention quickly in regards to Roger and Ace and just his appearance. Roger's appearance has changed slightly from what Oda really introduced him as, and that's just due to progression, right? A lot of characters, they change over time from the first time they're introduced. Like Kaido is completely different from what Oda showed him in that entire Yonko graphic, right? In one of the recent SBSs, Oda drew Ace at 40 and what he would look like. When you look at Ace at 40, he looks exactly like Roger, and he has the exact same necklace. Looking at the necklace that Roger's wearing now, it doesn't seem like the same one Ace used to wear when he was alive, but it's interesting that Oda showed us like Ace at 40 and essentially looked just like Roger at 40 with the same necklace and everything. So Oda just pulling on our feels with that one. So just wanted to quickly mention that. Bye. Okay guys, I'm sorry. I know this review is getting really long, but I've been staring at this devil fruit of Orochi, or that the lady set in front of Orochi, for a while, and I'm saying devil fruit now and I don't know exactly what it is. I know I said a bunch of stuff earlier about it and I still believe what I said, but the more I stare at it, it looks like a devil fruit. The thing is, it doesn't have the signature swirls. That's the reason why I had that, whole theory about what's gonna happen, and that's the fruit that's gonna turn into Orochi's fruit. But it has like the heads that looks like snakes. It really seems like a devil fruit. Another explanation I wanted to throw in was like, could this be a smile fruit? And is she somehow connected to Vegapunk in a way? Does she have the secret behind smile fruits? We don't see the signature swirls, and that's very important. Looking at every single devil fruit that Oda has showed, they have the swirls. So I don't know, but I wanted to point it out before this ended because it's really bugging me. And I mean, what I said could still be true, but something I just wanted to mention. For real this time. Bye.